Mehdi, why is Israel singled out?
Yeah, I don't accept the premise of the question, obviously. It's interesting you should say that Israel's singled out. There's a little R going out. Well, if you're watching this on YouTube, go back on YouTube and see that the first Intelligence Squared debate I did was not about Israel. I came here a few months ago to talk about the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia and its human rights abuses. So before I even turned up for Israel, I came to condemn Saudi Arabia. And this, I get it. There are lots of UN resolutions condemning Israel. I get that. But if you look at actual practical sanctions, there are no sanctions on Israel from Western countries for human rights abuses. There are against Syria, there are against Russia, there are against Iran, there are against North Korea. So no, I don't think Israel's being singled out. I'd actually like to see sanctions put on Israel so it's treated like other human rights abuses. Consistency, single standard.
Right.
It was. I actually love that moment because Mehdi Hasan is able to take a question and flip it to his benefit. The person asks Mehdi Hasan why is it that Israel is being singled out in a negative way, and he's able to flip it and show that Israel is being singled out, but in a positive way to their benefit, and I want them to be treated just like everyone else. Great debate tactic.
It's legitimate for Israel to remove the Hamas terror regime in order to prevent another October 7th. It's a yes or no question, Mr. Hassan.
No, it's not. It's a loaded question. I'm going to say it was legitimate for Israel to defend its citizens inside of Israel. It's not legitimate to occupy Palestinian territory for decades on end. And let me answer. Can I actually answer what you came to me for?
If I can rebut,
let me answer John's question. Let me answer
Elon, you've had about 2 or 3 minutes in a row. Go ahead,
You asked a
please.
very interesting question of Elon. You pointed out that he keeps saying, notice the sleight of hand. You said that he said, and he said it many times, not just here, Hamas should be destroyed. When you asked him, Israeli military experts in general say it can't be destroyed. Notice what Elon said? He said, remove from power. Quickly move the goalpost there. Because he knows that Hamas can't be destroyed by these means. In fact, the former head of Israel's military,
said from
let me
the
finish
very
my point.
beginning.
The former head of Israel's military, who was a member of Netanyahu's war cabinet, he said earlier this year, quote, anyone who says you can destroy Hamas is telling tall tales. So it's not me calling Elon Levy a liar. It's the former head of the Israeli military.
Mr. Hassan, from the beginning.
Again, an excellent moment. Mehdi Hasan is so good at being able to question the premise and break away from the premise. So in this question, he actually got cornered into a yes or no question. He broke out of it right away. He said, this is not a yes or no question. You know who else does that really well in debates? Drumroll please, Donald Trump. Now say whatever you might about him, he's a great debater. So again, Mehdi Hasan is not only able to break away from that framing, he is also able to make the other person look bad by showing, hey, look, he's been moving the goalpost this whole time. Again, excellent debate technique.
In northern Lebanon, 23 people bombed by your military, 2 babies killed, Jonathan. That is what you stand for. You serve the IDF, the Israeli military, which, as I say, is being investigated at the ICJ and the ICC. You serve a military that has been credibly accused by the United Nations just last week by Israeli media, which showed videos of mass rape of Palestinian detainees. The New York Times this week reported that your military sent children, Palestinian children, as human shields into booby-trapped tunnels and buildings. Is that what you did, Jonathan? Can you tell us today, did you ever send a Palestinian child as a human shield into a tunnel? Because the New York Times is saying your military did that. The World Food Programme is saying your military is starving the people of northern Gaza. Did you starve people when you were in the military, Jonathan? What do you stand for? Starvation? Mass rape? Ethnic cleansing? Genocide? Every human rights group in the world says your military is an abuser of human rights.
Ah, beautiful Piers Morgan, classic Piers Morgan moment. And he's with Jonathan, who is or used to be an IDF spokesperson. Mehdi Hasan did a great job just proving to him that they are not the most moral army in the world, as they like to go tell everyone. It's just hilarious.
I haven't, you're right, but I have seen lots of children with my own lying eyes being pulled from the rubble.
Because they're the pictures Hamas wants you to see. Exactly my point, Mehdi. They're the pictures Hamas wants.
But they're also people that your government has killed. You accept that, right? You've killed children, or do you deny that?
No, I do not.
Unbelievable. Just the arrogance, the hubris. Unbelievable.
I do not. I do not. First of all, you don't know how those people died, those children.
Oh, wow.
First of all, we don't want to see a single
Did you hear Mehdi Hasan say, oh, wow? Like, he is in shock himself, but don't worry, he destroys this fella.
child killed.
Okay, here's my question for you, Mark. You say, I agree with you. I agree with you. We shouldn't blindly believe anything Hamas says. But why should we believe what your government says either? Your military spokesman on Monday pointed to an Arabic document in the basement of a Gaza hospital and claimed it was a Guardian list on which every terrorist writes his name. But that was false. It was just a calendar with the days of the week on it. Your colleague in the Prime Minister's office, Ophir Gendelman, posted behind-the-scenes footage from a Lebanese short film and claimed it was Palestinians in Gaza faking their own injuries. That tweet is still up a week later. That is endless disinformation from your government, is it not?
just so many aspects to this. First of all, I totally remember that moment when the IDF were saying, oh my God, look at these terrorist names in the hospital. Turns out it was just days of the week. Hilarious. Unfortunately, I'm not sure if everyone realized that, if the media even, explained that later on. However, Mehdi Hasan is also so good on his feet of all of the other lies that the IDF says, and he's even able to verify that, yeah, this tweet was put up and it's still there a week later. How is he so quick on his toes like that all the time? I have no idea. He's talented.
How else do you get rid of Hamas if you don't go about it in the blunt, brutal manner that Israel is doing? And if you do it the way they're doing it, how do you avoid the kind of casualty rate of people under 18, given that that's half the population?
So, three things very briefly. Number one, you do it by not deliberately targeting civilian targets and schools and hospitals and cemeteries and mosques and universities and churches. You don't have snipers shooting at hospitals or Christian women inside a church. That's how you avoid the casualties. Number two, I don't accept the premise of your question that this is the way to defeat Hamas. I think even if I'm an Israeli hawk, I criticize Netanyahu and say, this is not the way to defeat Hamas. This is actually absurd to think you can defeat Hamas in this way. And number three, look, the reality is Hamas is a symptom of the problem. As long as you treat Hamas as a problem rather than as a symptom of the problem, you're never going to get rid of Hamas. Or if you do, by some fantasy means, get rid of Hamas, you'll just get another version of Hamas, because now you've got tens of thousands of orphans. You've got people who've lost their kids, their spouses, their siblings. What, you think they're not going to fight back in the years to come? You think they're not going to take revenge?
Well, that's how I feel.
It's absolute madness to believe.
I feel the same way.
Then we agree.
You see how Piers Morgan really behaves with Mehdi Hasan. Mehdi Hasan has destroyed Piers Morgan so many times on his own show that it's just hilarious at this point. And so many of these top 10 moments are from Piers Morgan Uncensored. Now, something that I did want to mention here is that the question that Piers Morgan asks, like, how do you get rid of Hamas without all of these casualties? You notice he doesn't ask that anymore. And the reason for that is Israel made it very clear that they're able to if they want to. When they killed Hezbollah using the beeper mechanism, they made it very clear that if they want to get rid of someone without casualties, they're able to do it. And that's why you don't see that question anymore.
For defense of international institutions at this moment as it relates to holding the state of Israel to account?
I have just one sentence to say about that, is that the entire world wants a ceasefire, and the United States and Israel and, I don't know, the Micronesia and whatever else don't, right? The entire world takes a very different view, unfortunately, to the people in this room and to Douglas and Natasha. The International Criminal Court, the International Court of Justice, the UNHCR, UNICEF, Doctors Without Borders, Amnesty International, Human Rights Watch, Oxfam, Christian Aid. Yep, you're booing. What does it come to when you're booing Oxfam? What does that tell you about yourselves? You're sitting here booing Oxfam to defend Benjamin Netanyahu. Let me just deal with something you just said. You talked about debunking propaganda. First of all, you can't even get Israeli propaganda straight. The Israeli government's own security agency, Shin Bet, investigated what you just said and said, no, we found no evidence that workers from Gaza were involved in the October 7th attack. Oh, Shin Bet are lying. They're booing Shin Bet, the Israeli security service. Got it.
Oh, this was a viral moment that I'm sure most of you have seen. This went viral on WhatsApp, to be honest. And something that I think what went viral about this moment is just how he's just off the cuff able to name all these different agencies that support what he's saying, and then also able to say Israeli sources that support what he's saying. And the audience obviously boos because it was a heavily Zionist audience. But yeah, this was one of the best moments of the last year.
Their program. How many nuclear weapons does Iran have as of today?
Right now, I hope none.
Okay, how many does Israel have?
No idea.
No idea? You were in the government. They don't tell you that stuff.
No idea.
Who do they tell?
No idea. I'm telling you, I never discussed it. But it's irrelevant.
You never discussed Israel's nuclear weapons. You can say that hand on heart, you've never discussed Israel's nuclear. You're expecting us to believe that the Deputy Foreign Minister of Israel never discussed Israel's nuclear deterrent? Seriously, then?
No. So let me tell you, no? It's not all slogans and sound bites, Mehdi.
Tell yourself.
I did not discuss Israel nuclear weapons. I did discuss Israel nuclear policy. There is a big difference.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay. So now we've got past that semantic evasion.
No, you have to.
How many nuclear weapons does Israel have? Because experts say it's anywhere between 80 and 400.
So what?
So what?
Yeah, so what? Has Israel ever threatened?
Do you recognize the hypocrisy of Israel having a secret illicit nuclear weapons program that it won't open up its doors to and won't talk about, and then lecturing everyone else in the region about nuclear weapons?
Absolutely not. You know why?
You talked about hypocrisy.
One of the reasons why Mehdi Hasan is such a great debater is because of how well he is able to communicate. So in this case, he's able to call out the BS and then also call out the hypocrisy. He's able to call the BS in which that how do you not know whether or not Israel has a nuclear weapon or not? Obviously he does. Obviously they do have it. And this is from several years ago. Now the whole world knows. But like back then, it was like under top secret. And he's also able to call out their hypocrisy and being so scared about everyone else having one, but they themselves have one.
Just clarify something you just said. You said Palestinian prisoners are being raped to death by Israeli soldiers?
Yes, this is a report in the New York Times last week.
Okay. I don't believe that to be true. Nonetheless, the question.
A 41-year-old detainee said the interrogators made me sit on something like a hot metal stick and it felt like fire. He said another detainee died after they put the electric stick up his anus.
No, it's repulsive.
This is an Israeli dungeon that CNN and New York Times have both reported on. UN investigators. So to free people from that prison, can you kill lots of innocent people according to the logic of the raid in Gaza?
What I'm trying to say is, if you represent the Palestinian people, you represent the Israeli people, we look at this quite differently. I don't want to
I know you do, which is why I'm asking the question, Congressman. I understand that you see it differently. A lot of people watching at home say, why? Why aren't all lives equal?
They should be.
But they're not.
Well, then let's go. Then let's go. Look, what I don't want to do is get into a debate of who suffered worse, whose lives.
I'm not asking. By the way, I'm asking about our lives treated equally.
Innocent Palestinian lives matter just as much as innocent Israeli lives, Muslim lives as much as Jewish and Christian lives. That's who I am. So, now, with all that said, war is hell, and this is nauseating. And we're trying to get back. I worry about
this line, war is hell, because can't Hamas say the same thing when you accuse them of war crimes? They can say war is hell.
Yes,
Isn't that why we have rules to war? So that we stop it from being hell?
Yes, they can. War is hell.
This poor fella got schooled on Mehdi Hasan's own TV show on Zateo. And basically, he's so unaware of the Palestine-Israel conflict, which is so sad. Because when you're in government, you should know about these, especially because we're paying for it. Unbelievable, sad moment. But yeah, nonetheless, I felt bad for the guy in a weird way.
You said that Trump called for the ethnic cleansing of legal immigrants in the United States. No, he didn't.
Yes, he did.
No, he didn't.
What did he say?
He said he wanted to deport illegal immigrants.
No, he didn't actually.
Yes, he did.
Piers, you're wrong.
When Mehdi Hasan looks at you this way and is so sure of himself with that little smirk on and basically asking you questions without looking at you, just know you're about to get destroyed, man. You're about to get destroyed. Poor Piers Morgan. This was a legendary interview. And this is truly where I can say poor Piers Morgan got destroyed on his own show.
That's what he said.
Again, anyone can play the tape after this interview. You're wrong. You should do better homework.
Ethnic cleansing is a forced expulsion,
I love your team.
Usually involving killing of members of a specific religious or ethnic group.
Hold on.
That's what ethnic cleansing
I really
is.
like your team. I deal with them a lot when I come in there. But you should talk to whoever did your research, because that's wrong. You know what he said? Go watch the clip. It's on tape. He said, we've got to get rid of them from Springfield.
Yeah.
Who are the people in Springfield? Haitians. They're not illegal immigrants.
So it's interesting, Springfield.
Hold on, no, don't jump around. You just got something wrong.
You're going to mention Springfield. I didn't get it wrong.
No, you did. We could play the tape back. He said illegal immigrants. That's not true. He said Haitians should be. You've got to get rid of them.
Do you think
he's called it a bloody operation? You okay with 14 million people being violently removed from their homes?
Are you?
4 million American children losing
let me
their
ask
parents.
you a question.
It's outrageous.
Now, before we move on to our number one top Mehdi Hasan moment, I just wanted to say make sure you like this video and subscribe to my channel. I also wanted to give a quick shout out to all of the folks that have become members to support this channel. I really do appreciate that. And if you want to help support this channel as well, because a lot of this content does get demonetized or shadow banned, make sure you become a member. It's only $2.99 a month. The link will be in the description below. Now let's continue.
More than 50% of social housing in London is now occupied by people who are not British. That is not true.
I'd need to look at the statistics.
We have the statistics. According to London government,
I also wrote
the figure in London is 84%. According to the 2021 census data, only 14% of Londoners living in social housing did not hold a UK passport. This has been pointed out to you for the last year.
No, it hasn't.
In fact, you went back on GB News and corrected it and said 48% go to people who are headed by people who are not born in Britain, which is a different point. But you would accept the vast majority of people in social housing are British.
I'd need to look at the data.
I've got the data.
No.
It's right
but
here.
the fact that 48, I think the 48,
copied and pasted.
I think the fact that 48% of social housing in this country has gone to families that are headed by somebody who was not born in the country is a problem.
So that's a different argument, with respect.
Well,
and let's talk about that argument.
Well, let's have that.
No, let's have that argument. You were wrong on the first point.
I don't think I was wrong on the first
You're
point.
100% wrong.
Well, I'd like to look at the data.
The Mayor of London, the census data.
I don't think the Mayor of London would be a credible source on that.
Okay, the London government. The London government don't know who's in. All right, how about
it's a highly political figure.
All right, how about the Ministry of Housing? 90% of social homes go to UK nationals. You're making some sweeping claims, and they're wrong.